are slowly giving up and nobody cares. Now, I don't really know much about this. Clearly I haven't watched this video yet, but from what the title is saying, what I'm feeling from this one specifically, I'm assuming it's talk about like men and mental health. Now, from what I've seen, for somebody that is going to be a therapist one of these days, or psychologist, pretty much dealing with the human brain therapy, etc., etc. I feel like men always, here's the thing. So you guys do not get as much attention as you guys probably should. When it comes to, how should I say? Maybe it's just, this is just maybe from what I've seen is like this. And let me give you like an example. So like my papa, he's very machismo. So like he's gotten much better as he's gotten older, but a lot of the times he used to be like, suck it up. He used to even tell me stuff like that. He used to even tell me stuff like that too. And and my thing is like this, like he was very much like, hey, don't talk about your feelings, don't do anything that involves you like trying to, I guess, more or less understand and be able to figure out why your issues are your issues, why they are there. But the reason why that I say this is because, like, here's the thing, being old school like that, I understand there was a lot of different times, different kind of ways of living, and don't get me wrong, like being tough and being able to handle your situations right there and then, that's important. A lot of people bitch and complain about like a whole bunch of shit where like literally it's just like a click away of how to be able to fix things. It's like, hey, look at your situation and be like, hey, could be worse. Hey, all I have to do is do this. Hey, there's many things where it's like a little thing and people make it like a big thing. However, there's a lot of other stuff, such as like, I like to give this example. Again, I was military for 12 years before I just retired this year. Thank God. And let me tell you something. So I've been deployed. I have seen a lot of crazy shit. I have a little bit of PTSD from the military. I have a lot of stuff that I've had problems with. And, if I didn't get help from me personally to be able to go and talk about it, like who knows where I would be. So, but the reason why we bring that up is because men, I feel like they don't really get the love that they probably should. And it's funny because this video may not actually be about that. Let's see before I actually start like talking.
Increasingly, more and more men are giving up. Giving up on relationships, careers, and society as a whole. Resentment is growing, unemployment is becoming rampant, and keeping your head above water seems almost impossible for many men today. This is leading to more men than ever dropping out of society entirely. And it's not just that, men are becoming infantilized. With terms like adulting now becoming normal, it's clear that something ugly is happening that needs to be addressed. We live in such a strained, unnatural environment that is bound to start to wear on society, but men in particular are battling to keep up and are slowly giving up.
I just feel like there are a lot, and chat, listen, clearly as one that does not have penis, you guys can clearly tell me if I'm wrong or right in this situation. I like to do is observe. I like to try to figure out, problems from both ends. I can tell you what I've noticed, and you guys can tell me what it actually is. But I just think society wants you guys to be the ones to be like, hey, like, suck it up, you got this, handle yourself. And that's personally like what I think from what I've seen from society. Well, I feel like guys kind of get the short end of the stick. Like, am I wrong? Yeah, I was about to say that's usually what I've noticed. And I hate that because here's the thing. I'm all about being equal, equality, trying to be able to, like, if I have an issue and you have an issue, there is not one that is greater and or worse. Now, every situation is going to be a little bit different, etc., but like the point I'm trying to make is that, like, I feel like a lot of society does not give guys a chance. And also, not to mention when it comes to mental health stuff, like, again, like I was saying earlier, for like my papa, he would just say to suck it up, doesn't actually go and fix some of the things that probably should be fixed. At least, even if it's just talking about it, even if it's just trying to be able to, like, hey, your problems are valid. Again, being somebody that is going through school to become like a therapist, one thing that I would say is that everyone's problems are valid. Now, a lot of people will try to compare their issues with others, such as like saying like, oh, well, I have this problem and you have this problem, so mine's much worse than yours. And people do that a lot. It's this comparison thing. I've never liked that because we have not all been in the same situations. We have not experienced everything the same as one or the other. So with that being said, who are you to decide on what is actually important and what is not? Like somebody could say like what I've seen in like the desert. I mean, I saw my friend get like blown up. Someone could say like, hey, well, I saw this. Like I saw my friend get shot up or something. And I'm like, well, I may have seen that too. But someone could be like, no, your stuff is not like as issues as mine, like kind of thing. It's not as high as mine. And a lot of people do that. And I'm assuming with men, it just kind of just one of those things where like you have to deal with it. So that's my thought. Again, I could be wrong. Chat, this is going to be mainly a video for you guys to teach me. I'm just going to give you my observations and you guys can help me out here.
Giving up on dreams, giving up on trying, and giving up on doing anything constructive. And for a large part, it's really not their fault, as this trend isn't just a personal struggle, but a societal issue that we must urgently address. So
I will say one thing too. From what I've noticed from the younger like generation, stuff like that too, is that it's just like, it's everybody, men, women, like I've noticed from a lot of like the younger generation, and it's funny because I was actually talking with Switch about this like earlier. A lot of like the younger generation children, like they're just, I feel like almost like at like 10, 11, they're like depressed and just like pretty much dealing with like their lowest point in like their life already. And I'm just like, aren't you guys supposed to be like kids playing, having a good time? Like I've heard so many of them like, I'm depressed, I'm this and this, and some people are just over like dramatic. But I think a lot of people see with what's going on in the world and they're just assuming like, hey, well, this sucks. I am more or less like they feel like that they are left in the dirt already before they even start. Now I can understand that too in this economy. Let me tell you, in this economy, it's quite hard to do fucking jack shit nowadays. It feels like it. But also you have social media that is very negative. You have the news that is very negative, which by the way, I'm a firm believer of just not watching the news. The news is biased and I am listen, in my personal opinion, no matter what news station you fucking enjoy watching, I am a big believer that they're just trying to pin people together or together against each other. That's kind of how I feel. So like here's the thing, news and stuff like that, it's nothing good anyway. But anyway, point I'm trying to make is that like I feel bad for the younger like gen. Like I feel like a lot of them feel like they're more or less that they are from the start that they're pretty much just screwed. Now, granted, I will say one thing. The new, the Zoomer gen, though, I will say, is very, very, very unique. So I'm a millennial, and a lot of my millennial brothers and sisters, they are, let me just say this, like, I feel like a lot of them, either A, they kind of had like the middle of the road life, or a lot of them are alcoholics and blame everybody else. Now, I've met some Zoomers that are definitely like that too. However, something I've noticed too, especially in our sphere, I have met some really, really, really cool fucking people, like people that have already got their careers ready. They're like 18, they're like massive artists. Like, it's impressive. You know, when I was 18, I was like just joining like the military, and I'm just like, Jesus. And it almost makes you think to myself that the newer generation has to kind of like, get ready, has to actually like prepare for themselves early. Because if not, I think they're screwed. Like, if that makes sense. So it's very unique. It's like a very like either all the way, like one way, or pretty much all the way back down to the bottom. It's very strange. But anyway, we're talking about men, not specifically like everyone.
So
forgive me.
And why has it gotten so bad in 2024? On the surface, it's a long and complicated story. Life has never been simple for any human, and objectively speaking, for men in the West today, it's never been better. We have all the technology we need, food delivered to your door with the tap of a finger, dating readily available to anyone with a simple
But here's the thing. When you have all these choices and you have all these things that are like, here's this and this and this and this and this, people get like, what is it? It's overwhelmed by choice. I'm trying to remember, there's actually like a term for that. There's actually a term for that, where people are like, there's so much stuff and they don't know where to go. They don't even know where to start. They almost get stunned by all the choices that are in like front of them. What am I trying to think of, Chad? Paralyzed by like choice. Yes, exactly. Plus, not to mention, don't be dating. Listen, I've been dating a long fucking time. Not saying that I'm the peak example of fucking what to do and whatever. But like, I'm telling you, this will give you depression. Just saying. Don't be doing all that. Now this one, that's my baby. You see that DoorDash right there? I know that's what they're talking about. That's for me, baby. That's for me. That's me, especially whenever I'm like really, really, really busy. And I'm like, oh God, I have to go off to work, but I've been streaming for like 12 hours. I'm, like I said, not the definition of hell sometimes.
Why? Any products, items, or experiences that you want can be had with a tap of your phone.
Listen,
but over
at least
time,
I'm
all
honest.
of these comforts of life destroys the importance and necessity of struggle. Without any value placed on higher goals, where there just is no reason to care, means there's no reason for people to properly live or have the will to achieve greatness.
When people are not struggling, we cause, okay, let me give you an example. So all throughout the whole history of fucking ever, when humans have to struggle to like get from one spot to the other, we learn, we adapt. When there is nothing to struggle for, when there's nothing to work for, people tend to cause problems, to find issues, because here's the thing, there's nothing else for them to do. There's nothing else for them to do. Struggle builds character, and I completely agree with you that. I completely agree with you, Caster. Struggle makes it so we can learn, adapt, and be able to grow as human beings. Humans like to be able to be challenged. And you know, when we're not doing that, you want to know what people tend to do. Usually the simple-minded, I like to say. They go on like fucking Twitter and they will try to quote unquote stand for something, and it literally is nothing. Literally is nothing. It's almost as if like people just want to cause conflicts and issues for things that don't actually fucking matter. That don't actually, like, nobody really gives two shits or a fuck about. And you want to know what's funny? For the little fucking Twitter fucking, how should I say, little Twitter soldiers that are trying to be like, hey, I stand for this and I stand for that. To me, first off, I hate it. I think it's so fucking stupid. But I think a lot of the times they will literally be like, hey, I did something today. And be like living in their mom's like fucking house being like, hey, at least I did something. I'm like, no, that's literally nothing. That's literally nothing. But again, when there is no struggle, this is what people do. People have just tendency to be like, okay, well, I want to be able to be a part of something. I want to be able to argue about something. So this is their struggle, even though it's literally nothing. It's literally a nothing burger. But hey, that's what people do, especially people that, to me personally, a little bit more simple-minded. Listen, a little bit more simple-minded. Anyone that's fighting for fucking Twitter stuff, like literally brain rot, fucking brain rot. I have brain rot. Listen, as a streamer, you just have that brain rot. But I'm telling you, like, without struggle, you're not growing. And if you're not growing, you're not adapting, and you're not really living. Humans need that shit. They need that shit. Also, Kick, thank you so much for the Prime. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Which is probably why 40% of young men aged 18 to 45 meet the criteria for depression, and 49% of 18 to 23-year-olds have had a thought of passing themselves in the past 2 weeks alone.
And that's what I was saying earlier with like the younger generation, is that a lot of the times which by the way, it also depends on your environment, who you're with. And this goes out to anybody. It's been like this since the dawn of fucking time. But when you're around a lot of people that are also doomers, I think that's what chat says that they are. It's like doomers, right? People that pretty much like say, oh, this fucking sucks, it doesn't really matter. When you're around doomers and you're around people that literally are like, hey, nothing's gonna happen, like literally life is fucking nothing, it's pain dial, you're gonna pretty much get this. You're gonna get more depression. And a lot of the times when your whole generation thinks that everything's fucked, then you're also gonna feel that also. Now, you might be that one light in the darkness, like kind of thing. And if that's the case, even better. Even better. Listen, we need more of that. We really do. However, I think that's why some of the younger generation is definitely like that. If you have no motivation because everyone is so fucking down, like they don't want to do anything, then that's where depression happens. If you're not going anywhere, depression will find its way. Listen, if you're not doing anything, depression will find a way and fucking do something to you. Trust me, I know. So that's why it's always nice to be able to be pushing for something, always be doing something. Learning, adapting, again, that's what humans have to do to develop and grow. Is literally be able to like say, hey, I want to be able to do this. I want to be able to have a goal and dreams, and that's what you got to go for. That's what you have to go for.
And we're seeing the symptoms of this problem everywhere. The sapping away of our vision and ambition permeates in all aspects of modern society today. Our culture, architecture, relationships, bodies.
Yeah, exactly. People are like, if nothing matters, then it's like, eh. It is what it is. See, that's what a lot of people think nowadays. It's like nothing matters, but really, everything matters to you. Or excuse me, everything matters. Anything can matter. It just depends on the person, the mindset, and what you want to do. That's pretty much it. It's like, what do you want to do in this world? You have to really, I would like to say this to anybody, whether it's like a younger person, young folk, or even people that are my age or just older, it doesn't really matter, whatever your situation is mentally, is that you need to be able to figure yourself out, figure out who you are as a person, what you want, and you really got to get in there. Yeah, like, you know what I mean? There's probably a lot of things in your own mind or things that you don't want to really confront, but figure out like what bothers you, what you want to do, figure out that, like figure it all out. Try to be able to understand yourself. Then you should be able to handle all of this, because once you have a better understanding of yourself, then you can figure out what the fuck you want to do. But that also tends to be like, hey, working on your issues, your like problems. And that's kind of what leads into like the more mental health thing again.
Always placed their emphasis on beauty, wisdom, and logic for all the population to see, with great town squares bustling with art, life, and community. These things were placed above.
Where is this, by the way, chat? Off topic. This is the is it chapel something? It's like the chapel something. I can't remember. I'm not too sure. I'm trying to remember. It's like the fourth chapel. No, okay, so it's Paris. Oh, that's 16 chapel, not the fourth chapel. You know, off by a couple numbers. Also, loneliness, I completely agree with you. It's usually pointless clickbait. That doesn't even fucking matter. Like, you know, something that I've noticed as a content creator, something I've noticed as like that I see more on, you know, socials and hell, even here, whenever we're streaming. People sometimes will do anything, especially like I've noticed it's like usually a lot of like full-time content creators too. It's not always like this, not for every single one of them, but like people will do anything for like a little bit of clout. People will do anything for a little bit of like attention, small little bit. And the crazy part is it's not even just for content creators. I know a lot of content creators do it just to be able to bring people in, be like, oh, I'm going to say whatever I got to do. Like pretty much it's like the trendy thing to say to bring people in. They're just like, here, come in. Or they will cause drama even though they don't even fucking mean it, just to be able to bring people in. It's really sad. It's really sad. But the worst part, the saddest thing I like to say is for the people that don't even do content, that don't even do anything. They'll literally just say something crazy just to get attention. And I'm just like, what is this? This high school again? Like, I don't know. Like, that blows my mind. Not saying that it's better whether you fucking do content creation or not, but like point I'm trying to make is that some of this stuff is it's crazy to me. It's crazy to me. Maybe because I'm older. Maybe because like, I don't know. I just never really got this stuff in like the first place. Like I said, I am a bit of a boomer and never really like social media and stuff like that. But that's my guess. The IRL Reddit upvotes. You know, I've seen that before. I've seen Reddit and stuff like that. I just recently learned about it, like maybe like a year or so ago, and I didn't know that was a thing. Like I was told that people do anything for like Reddit, like upvotes. That's like crazy. I asked them like, so what do you get out of that? And they said not really anything. So I don't know. It's crazy to me. It's crazy to me.
Of all else is the bedrock of their societies, laying out a code of honor and struggle in its people to achieve greatness. Comforts were shown in art and culture, but as an aspiration for achieving something great, for following your mastery. But today our cities are mostly devoid of all of this character, and instead they're marked out by the most cost-efficient, bland and sterile designs to facilitate a simpler self-motivated purpose. It's why people flock all over the world to a handful of remaining cities that retain their centuries-old charm to feel and experience the character of bygone societies that were motivated by higher ideals.
I like that. Literally going to places that feel like they got a little bit of spirit left. Because you go to a lot of places, not everywhere, clearly not everywhere, but everything looks very cookie cutter. Like, kind of reminds me, I think I've used this example before for like, comparing things to make everything's not so same. Do you guys remember super old fucking, cartoon show? I think it's, Fairly Odd Parents. There's this one episode where pretty much everyone turned into a blob, gray blob, and everyone was like the same. And I remember because it feels like nowadays a lot of places tend to be going to that same feel. Very bland, very gray. Everyone's pretty much doing the same thing. You know, everyone's doing the same fucking thing. Everyone's doing the same stuff. Everything looks very dull and bland and depressive. And it sucks. It sucks to see. I think a lot of people do that on like purpose. Have you ever heard like the whole, and this might be my tinfoil hat popping on, but you ever heard of this thing where it's like the pretty much the rich try to keep the poor down? Like I feel like a lot of the times when you can find it wherever you can put a bunch of people in to a place where y'all are doing the most same mundane stupid shit, 9 to 5, barely making like enough, and it makes you feel down. It doesn't make people want to get up to the next level. doesn't make you want to like get up to the next level of like the tier of like muna of money, of like living. So I almost want to say, again, I don't know if that's tinfoil or not, but I feel like that is something that is probably going on here. Now, I would love to go to somewhere like this. It's super pretty, super fucking pretty.
Idea was greater than our modern two-dimensional ways of thinking, with a prioritization of comfort, lust and opulence, and flashy materialism over individual excellence and greater community. We're now reeling in the aftermath, becoming instead a generation of mandated mediocrity. And does this explain why men today seem to struggle more than ever while seemingly having more than ever? America in particular is not actually in a recession. In fact, on paper, the economy looks like the best it's been in a while. Unemployment has dropped, GDP is up. But what the people are actually experiencing is a completely different story. We can see this in a study by the University of Michigan on consumer sentiments, which gathers data based on how consumers feel about the current state of finances. In 2022, it dropped to an all-time low. Prices of our average daily needs like gas and food have increased in unbearable percentages.
I remember going off to the store. What was it? It's I think it was like maybe like a year or like 2 ago. I remember trying to get like a whole bunch of groceries, and it would cost me maybe like about $200. So now, same groceries, $400, maybe even close to like $450. And I'm just like, it's fucking terrible. And a lot of the times I can usually see it. I can usually see when it's about to happen. Usually it's like a hike in like, I think the most recent time that I've seen it like jump up is whenever they were trying to increase the minimum wage for like just normal, like I think it was like for like what is it, I think that was back when they were trying to increase wages for like burger flippers and stuff like that. It was like a bunch of other like jobs too, but like the moment that I saw that, I was like, ooh, like I bet you that's going to increase everything else for all of us, because that's usually what happens. If anyone doesn't know, usually when that goes up with everything, then everything else goes up. So really, if you think about it, you think like, hey, you're going to get more money this way, etc., etc. But like, here's the thing is that it's not. It's actually going to hurt everybody. So it kind of sucks. But then again, that's how our government's been doing stuff since the dawn of a fucking time. That's why my groceries now are almost double, if not triple the price. I'm telling you. And that's back when I still had my kiddos. Back when I had the kids and I was making a whole bunch of food. And now, like even nowadays, like with just my small family now, it still probably costs about the same, if not a little bit more. Now that I'm even buying a lot less now. So that's cool. The worst thing is that they make prices higher than there were like chain supply problems. But when it became normal again, they just don't. Yeah, exactly. They just don't lower it. They don't lower it afterwards. And here's the thing. They can keep it that way. And they mean to do it that way. You know that, right? Like people think like, hey, like once everything settles, you think it's going to drop. But nope, it just stays there. It just stays there. It just stays there. It said minimum wage is barely able to sustain yourself if you have like a house and stuff to pay for. A lot of people can't even do that. Like a lot of people, they'll work their fucking ass off. I know for me, I had to have 2 fucking jobs. Still fucking do. And it just makes it so I can still live. You know, I still live good. But at the same time though, like if I didn't, like I know for a fact I'd be struggling a ton. I had 3. Yeah, well, before I retired, I want to say I had 3 too. But like, now that I'm actually just like, once I'm done now, I feel like I still have my 2. At the same time though, things are still very expensive. That's why I always tell them in chat to save their money here. Save your money, because here's the thing. I know how hard it is out there now. I know, I get it completely. So please do.
Salary increases do not match, putting a high strain on budgets.
Inflation is showing no signs of slowing down as Americans pay over $1,000 a month more on the same essentials we were buying 3 years ago. Nothing's changed but price. The latest consumer price index for March showing basic necessities like our food, housing, and gas are all continuing to cripple Americans' wallets with higher prices.
Inflation.
Can I just say this too? I know it's like kind of off topic. But like, okay, so we've been playing a lot of Black Ops 6 and we've been doing that zombies a lot. Do you remember the first stage? I think it's the first stage. I'm not exactly sure where we are in that specific spot, but I remember seeing this and because it's supposed to be in the 90s, and I'm looking and the gas prices were like $1. And I'm like, wow, that's crazy. I said, ooh. Sorry, I was thinking of gas prices and Did I just pause you, Ron? No. Okay, so your face is just like that. Huh. You think, okay, just off topic. Do you think he has a stroke? I wonder if he had a stroke before. I feel like maybe. Either that or it's just an age thing. Either way, I pray that it was like more of a... Well, I don't want to pray he had a stroke, but like... Listen. If I get older and older, my face starts getting stuck just like that, I need to get one of those, was it plastic surgery? I think I would need plastic surgery. Listen, I feel like I hate plastic surgery. I hate all that fake shit. But at the same time, if my face started to like dip in this way, I think I might need it. Because like, here's the thing. It may look a little fake, but at least it doesn't look like, you know. I mean, I don't want to make fun of the guy, but at the same time, though, I don't think this man's real. Who said that? In chat, someone said, I don't think this guy's real. You ever heard of the whole, like, the lizard men? Another tinfoil hat. But I'm just saying, it might be one of those lizard men. People think that Mark Zuckerberg is also one. So I'm just saying, possibility. Oh, hold on.
Actually down against inflation since Biden took office. So not only are prices soaring, but you know, our wages, at least if you measure hourly wages, are not keeping up at all.
Keeping your head above water has become the new normal instead of owning a home with a white picket fence. The rich are becoming richer and the poor are becoming poorer.
And that's kind of what I mean by that, is that like, because we were talking about like rich will always try to find ways to bring everyone else down. It's just kind of just how it is. They want to make sure that they get to have their money. And, you know, I am convinced that just like, because, you know, we have a bit of a race issue, like we always have had one. I almost want to say, now this isn't like race related, but I will say like examples of this is that like, I feel like they just don't want you to be around. They don't want you to be around. They don't want other people that was like born in this, raised in this. They don't want this. You know, they don't want that shit. They want to have everyone else over there and they can live in their life. You know, they can have their own thing. They can have their stuff where they don't want you around here. That's why you always see people where they're like, hey, like I was born into money, or like you might see like a job where like someone's like, hey, by the way, like this is like my son or this is like my nephew, and they're going to be taking over the managerial like spot inside of the company, even though they have no idea what the fuck is going on. It's like anything that they can do to keep the families more, you know, keep them richer, keep them in a spot where everyone else is pretty much struggling. See, that's why like when I was working for a, and I think I told you guys this before, I used to work for a pails and lid company a while back. And a lot of the times, at least for my boss, they used to tell me like, hey, find the cheapest workers that you can possibly find. And this was like more or less, he was like, hey, look for like illegals, like kind of thing. Anyone that they could do to make it so they make a lot more money. They make more money. They want people that literally will just do anything that they can possibly do to get like a buck, while they make tons, while they make a bunch. Like, I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like, hey, you know, I truly do feel like there is this is what is going on in like the world. And just like you said, the rich want to stay higher. They want to be there, and they don't want anyone else here. They don't want anyone else to be like, hey, you're coming up with me. They don't want people to come like to come up. They're already there. They don't want you here. They do not want you here.
With the middle class,
at least in my personal opinion,
all the knowledge
would you
of
agree?
the past of just going to college, getting a job, and buying a home immediately is just completely irrelevant for anyone working and living in 2024.
By the way, I feel like college is a bit of a college is a fucking scam. The amount of fucking places that you can go to be able to go and get like a so I've said this a lot like before, but like going to a trade school, going to places where you can actually, like, trade schools are so much cheaper compared to like an actual college degree. And a lot of the times you can pretty much get a job with electricians, HVAC, plumbing, like stuff like that. And I'm not saying that those are like specifically the jobs you want to do, but like you can make a bunch of money off that. Trade schools are way cheaper and you get almost like a job like instantly. Because here's the thing, and I think we watched the video on this like once upon a time, but when it comes to jobs that you work with your hands with, those are starting to become more and more valuable because nobody wants to do them. So nobody wants to do them. So like the price is like pretty much like how many you get hourly goes higher and higher, because when there's a demand for it, you're gonna make a fuck ton more money. So you want to say like, hey, I want to be in a better spot where I'm like, hey, I want to be able to make a little bit more like money. There you go. I'm just saying. Coming from somebody that used to like recruit and tell people like, hey, this would be a good job for you. hey, this would be a good job for you.
Has skyrocketed in prices to absurd levels. The housing market is in a complete giant bubble. Everyone's sending out job applications more and
the
more.
house market,
while
listen,
using these.
And by the way, I'm going to fucking pause. I pause videos a lot, so if you don't like that kind of stuff, you come to the wrong stream. Listen, even with 2 jobs, I can't even fucking afford any houses. The only time I was able to afford a house was with my ex-wife. But we had to like really like save up, put a whole bunch of fucking money together, and boom. And that was with kids. So like, I'm telling you, I've been trying to save up for a minute. Yeah, it's the house market right now is awful, terrible, fucking terrible.
These automated testing systems.
I'm an engineering student, and you know, an engineer in the same major, my distant uncle. I was encouraged by college career coaches to take an internship. He said, if need be. I really don't want to. 1, being Russian, and 2, I ain't no sourpuss. Hey, you know, whatever you got to do to be able to survive out there. Because like I said, it's tough out there. It is tough. In this economy, like, that's always a joke, at least in our channel, but it's legit. In this economy, it is quite crazy. It is quite crazy. Like, you gotta do what you can to get by, but at the same time, though, be able to like live life. Be able to live life. I am living page. Sorry, this is like my first. Tuesdays are usually like my first days of like the week, and I stuttered the most. Oh God, last week was a crazy week. But anyway, when I hear people living paycheck to paycheck, there we go. Jesus. I don't really think that's living. That is just getting by. That is just getting by. Now, being able to have a little bit of extra money to actually do stuff, be able to like, whether it's like be able to afford something that like you want, a place, etc., that's kind of living. That's living. Now, you may not be exactly where like you want to be, but at the same time, you're in a better place than literally living paycheck to paycheck. Like, great example. Like, if you're doing that, just barely getting by, what if your car breaks? What if something happens? You're fucked. You're fucked. And there's nothing you can really do about it. There's nothing you can really do about it. So it's like, I feel like never really get yourself in that kind of situation. Always try to find a way to get yourself in a better situation. And again, the world could care less if you're in a better like situation. Actually, better yet, a lot of the times it's going to put you in a bad like the world could care less. Let's just say that. People could care fucking less. So you really got to put your time and effort to really get yourself up there. You just have to. You have to. Because at the end of the day, no one cares more about you than you. That goes out to family. It goes out to pretty much anybody. You got to care about what you want and figure out what your goals are and make that happen. Even if people say, hey, I can't do that, or I shouldn't do that, go for it. And hell, you may find out that you don't like that. You may find out that you don't want to do this. But here's the thing, you're never going to be able to figure that out unless you actually go in and give it a shot. Go in and give it a shot.
Many workers for their companies, and the results of this are clear. People are drifting towards more unfulfilling jobs, or just not even having a job at all, while the rich buy up resources, real estate, and everything that used to be the cornerstones of the middle class that is now just an
keep pushing everybody
hidden through
down.
An offshore bank account for some giant investment fund.
Basically, what they want to do is create a nation of renters. BlackRock coming in and giving them more money than the house is worth.
That's why the house economy is, or the being able to get houses now is fucking practically impossible. It feels like practically impossible. God, it fucking feels like it's like a nightmare to do. It's a nightmare to do. It feels like it's terrible. And like, I feel like it's because of this, and people want to keep it that way. They want to keep it that way. Build your own easy. Oh God, that's still expensive. Expensive. Like, I was very happy for when I was active. Like when I was active duty, it was nice because they could put you in a house, whether it's on base or near fucking base. So that was awesome because they pretty much are like, hey, like this is where like your sergeants would like go. But like once you're out, like now you got to go back into like real life shit. Now, granted, you do have a lot of benefits from being in, but like point I'm trying to make is that it's hard out there. It is hard out there. You really got set yourself up for like success, whether it's extra money or education. Like you got to be on it. And here's the thing, like I said like earlier, is that you really got to want that, because if not, you're going to be like everybody else, where it's like a shoulda, coulda, woulda, like kind of thing, or no job, or being able to just barely make it off of like the off of the government or something, you know? It's hard out there. It's hard out there for him. True, very true.
30% above,
really,
which is money.
And then they just lease those homes out.
And they lease them out. It's part of this idea that home ownership and automobile ownership and all of these things, these legacy systems that people want to get rid of. And they go, rent a house, use Uber, Lyft, whatever. You know, you don't need to own. What does owning do for you? That's that famous article, you'll own nothing and be happy.
Right. And because of this, all saving plans.
You know, it's crazy because it's like, clearly this is in the real world. So houses, cars, etc., etc. But like, you know, we were talking because like, you know, we love video games here. I love games. You know, it's funny because like they're talking about renting or not actually having something. That's how it is with like the video game world now too. Like you don't actually, a lot of people don't actually own stuff. It's all just like, hey, like you are subscribed to this. This isn't actually yours. The moment that like something ends or something's done, like that's it. That's it. Pretty much like give it back to them. Like, isn't that crazy? You own nothing nowadays. Exactly. Like with that saying, it's like you own nothing, be happy. It's I think it's really shitty. I think it's really shitty. I do kind of miss the like gone are the days where like you can pretty much have a physical copy of anything. Video games, life, houses, apparently. Houses, things that you own specifically. I remember back when like my papa actually built like his we built our house way back when back actually when we were in like Colorado. And it's crazy because like I think about that now and I think about how people live now and I'm just like, wow, like you can't really even do a lot of stuff like that back like nowadays. You really got to be like making the money, baby. You really got to be making the money to even be doing that now. But that was back in oh god, I can't remember like me like when did I move to America during that 2010 2009. No, actually I remember he was before I even moved off to America, he was already getting it built, so it might have been like 2008. What I'm trying to make is that like it's expensive. It's hard to even like thinking about that now. I'm like, wow, like I can't believe that that's even like how we are nowadays, where we are nowadays. It blows my mind. It makes me sad that we're here, you know.
Plans for regular people are halted because living paycheck to paycheck means there just isn't enough for a savings plan. And whilst there is still some hope
we don't
to dig
save
your way
anymore.
out, for most this does begin a damaged path. People end up working in a job
Where'd
that's
I
not
move from?
enough,
I used to live in
something
London.
that they hate to do every day. And
I
eliminates
moved
the
to
experience
America
they
when
need
I
for the
lived
job
when
in
I was
their
like 15.
field. And so even the experience
about
they are
15 or
getting
so.
is just completely useless for getting
So I
back
lived in
on
America
track.
now for
In
16
effect,
years.
their now entry-level position is
Tony,
further
even
deviating.
listen, even 31 right now. After my divorce, like I like now I'm like, you know, went back with family for a little bit now that I'm a little bit closer with them, and I will be moving eventually, but like I'm really trying to save up a lot of money to finally like get into a place that I really want to be. And at the same time, when I do, I damn well know it's going to be very expensive. It's going to be very expensive and it's still going to be very small. So that's just kind of how it is, but I know what I want. So it doesn't matter how much I have to work, and I do work a lot. I think I work like 16 hours a day. I want to say it's about 16 hours a day. It do be tough out there, but it is definitely possible.
Deviating them from becoming lawyers, psychologists, or whichever career path they studied for. And if the middle class is experiencing this, then the lower earners are feeling this even more. The jobs they once had a chance of landing now go to the middle class, while they get hit a bump lower, which is
it's like 14 to 16 hours, well, like something like that.
They face working twice as hard for minimum wage, juggling between jobs, partaking in the gig economy with absolutely no security, all with an extreme pressure to keep up with daily expenses in a completely overpriced megacity. And the truth is, both middle and lower earners are now taking a huge hit to their egos.
Another thing with this, and it might be slightly off topic, at least when it comes to this. So we were talking about like how people feel where they're like depressed and they feel like they don't really want to have a job, or maybe they did have a job, but they only last for like a couple of months. And I think we went over this a few times with like a few videos like prior. I'm trying to remember which one that it was. But like a lot of jobs, you could be there for 7 years. I think someone in chat was saying this earlier, but you could be there for like 7-8 years. You could be there for like pretty much you can put your whole life, effort, money, time, like into this like career, into like this company. Sorry, my English is like terrible today. And they could literally just let you go in like the next day and be like, bye, like here's your severance pay, boom, done. And it sucks because you can put like your pretty much your everything, and there's literally no loyalty. And I hate that. Like, hell, remember the company I was telling you about, the one where I was recruiting for like for them to have like illegals to be able to work in one spot? And then I would like, because I was a manager and also I was a recruiter for like the company, I would pretty much go and check to see, hey, are you qualified for this? Not to mention, like, I was there for like years. I put a lot of time and effort there. And it's funny because like during when COVID happened, it was just about that time. I actually thought my job was safe. And then just all of a sudden, one day, gone. And I put a lot of time in there. I thought, you know, blood, sweat, and tears, and just gone. That one really hurt. And it was shitty because I'm like, how's that even possible? How's that even possible? I did everything for them. So much time, so much effort, so much like overtime. God, so much fucking overtime. And just gone. Like, it's a really shitty feeling. So a lot of people nowadays, because of that, they don't really want to put all their effort in, or just in general, like if they ever like feel like there's any kind of issues, they'll just leave. So I know that's how it is with a lot of the younger generation. So it's crazy to see. Like gone are the days I feel like where the loyalty with companies and with their people, like gone are those days. I feel like it's nothing but like, hey, give me your money, and if you slightly piss me off or if you're slightly out of like tune with what we want here, it's no teaching. There's no teaching. There is no like, hey, I want to be able to help you. I want to be able to make it so that you can mold up to be the next position. It's like, if you're not there, boom, gone, next person. Gone, next person. Was this after military? Yes. I was reserved for, okay, so I was active duty for 6 years, and then I was reserved for another 6 years. And during the reserves time, that's when I was working another job. So pretty much I was trying to use my engineering skills with my math and stuff. That's where I was like working prior. But anyway.
They feel disrespected through no fault of their own, as no man wants to feel like a failure. They don't want to feel like they're not providing or on their destiny. Imagine putting in the hours and effort to get a degree and then having to take a job that's not even within the field you studied for. Well, this is just regular life for most people nowadays. It's making men feel incredibly depressed and isolated. They watch all this stuff on social media.
It's funny because we've been like overall talking about this, but like I feel like we've been talking about more like overall instead of just men. But going back with that, since the dawn of fucking time, and of course things have changed a lot. Like there's a lot more even Steven. There's a lot more like the equality is a lot better nowadays. But even still, since the dawn of fucking time, men have been the ones that are like the bigger providers. Are usually the ones that like, hey, I need to make sure that everything is settled, safe, pretty much like they make sure that things are good. Now, again, not every fucking person's like that nowadays, but like that's kind of how it's always been for a good portion of like life. So when like it's like this, and when people feel like they can't do anything, they're depressed, they don't want to do anything because of this, it even brings, more or less, it makes it so that how should I say, it brings like a double, how should I say, like it makes like if you're depressed, you're really depressed now, because it makes you feel like you're not doing your job, makes you feel like you're not doing your fucking job. And that's so shitty, whether you have a family or you don't, or hell, a lot of times when people with the whole dating scene, and I think there's a video on this about like dating nowadays, it's like really fucking shitty. But like even with like, let's just say you're not dating anybody, you don't have a girlfriend, boyfriend, like whatever, a lot of times people feel even lower because they feel like they can't even like support that. They don't even have enough to like to go out on a date. They have nothing that they can give. So then people get isolated. They can't date, I can't do anything, I can't work correctly. Like it really is shitty. It really is shitty. So I feel really bad for like men's like mental health, especially since you've seen it like in our society. A lot of people like to make fun of like men's like mental health, and I think that's some fucking bullshit. Like I feel so bad because mental health is literally it's equal. Like women have it, men have it, like guys, kids, etc. So you got to take that shit seriously. Again, everyone's issues, everyone's problems are always going to be high priority for that person, whether it seems small to you or if it's big. Like you have to be able to handle that and be able to like ask for help. Now I feel like a lot of people can't, because they feel like, again, like they're like, oh, I feel weak, or I feel like I like haven't been able to solve this for like myself. But at the same time though, you really got to be able to be like, hey, like I want help, I need help. That's always the hardest part. It's always the hardest part. Also, what is this fucking person here? Let me fucking ban this dude. Get the fuck out of here, you little twat. Get out of here. Mods, feel free to ban like people that are like that.
Yeah, they see people flexing the Rolexes on their Instagram stories. Meanwhile, they're struggling to survive, living a life they absolutely hate.
Listen, a lot of the times,
family ask about it,
a lot of the times I've seen people that will do that stuff just so they can be like, they'll show up, but it's really not theirs. Like, I've seen people rent shit and literally be like, hey, just for that clout. Remember I was telling you about that clout? I was telling you about that clout, about that stuff to make people feel like they're actually makes it so people feel important, if that makes sense. As a teen in the 90s, I thought I would have like a partner, the house, the job, etc. Now I'm 44. He said, and none of that actually ever happened. Thanks to that undiagnosed autism, not sure how to find out who I am after a lifetime of trying to please others in order to fix or fit in, and the mask. Okay, listen, can I tell you something? One of the big things I've learned in life, like my number one thing I tell anyone out there, to live a good life, you have to learn the definition of fuck it. Being able to like know like whatever people are thinking, whatever people are putting you into, whatever kind of category, or just more or less if you're trying to please people, fuck them. You got to think of your life. You got to think about what makes you happy. Because again, no one's looking out for you other than you. So you have to be able to understand like, hey, like you need to understand like, hey, this is your life. This is your life. You have to understand like what like you want. And you can't be pleasing every single person. Like there's tons of people that I fucking piss off nowadays. And I feel like that it makes me a lot, like it makes you free. It makes you feel like I'm actually able to be me. Because I used to be a fucking pleaser too. I love being able to help people and being able to make people's lives better. But at the same time though, like there are some people that are lost causes. I'm gonna be real with you. Some people don't want help. Some people will never, ever, ever ask for help. And they just more or less want to suckle off of like society. They want to be like a leech. Fuck them, like literally. Shut up. You have to learn the word fuck it. Be like, because at the end of the day, you need to worry about yourself. You can't help anybody if your life is in like fucking shambles. Is in shambles. You have to. I have friends like that. I have friends like that too. Now I will say one thing. Now that I started to really notice that, we're not really as much friends, more like acquaintances. But it's because these people are not people I want to be around. You have to be around people that are motivated. Now, you guys don't have to have the same kind of job or career, want like the same kind of things, but you want to have people you want to be around that are trying to do stuff in life. You want to be able to find people that are like going to actually push you, and you should probably want to push them. Keep going. It's like back and forth. That's like if you ever find like a partner, if anyone ever dates, that like will literally push you and drive you to success. That's the people you want in life. I promise you. I fucking promise you. Wait, hold on one second. He said, I'm a 10-year vet. Hey, listen, I salute you. I'm 12. Which, by the way, happy Veterans Day. I know yesterday was Veterans Day, so I hope you guys had an awesome one. Listen, my drinks. I had a couple of drinks just for you. So when I got out, I used my GI Bill, which, by the way, I need to use mine too. And get 2 4-year degrees in 36 months. Really, that's badass. So I worked my ass off in my first company. Because of that, I was given opportunities, and now I work for various government contracts from my living room. Really? That is so fucking cool. That is super fucking cool. It said making well into the 6 figures. It said we're not helpless, and a certainly never achieved anything great by doing the bare minimum. I hope we're not sending people the wrong like message here. No. Actually, I think that's fucking perfect. I think when it comes to this is how I feel about like our society nowadays. I do think that the bar right now, and you can kind of see it here too, because everyone feels like down and out. Like I do feel like our bar is so low right now. So if you just even put a little bit of effort, a little bit of time, a little bit of extra oomph, like oomph, like you will go somewhere. Because again, if it's all like a competition with like who does better in what like field, like you will do better if you actually fucking put more. I mean, you got to put effort in there. And sometimes you got to go all out. Like I said, again, I work like 14 to 16 hours almost every single fucking day. Is that a lot? Yeah. But at the same time though, I know that if I do this, like it makes it so I can go and stream and I can go do all this fun stuff. But none of this is going to happen if I don't pay my fucking bills. So it's like these things are important. But at the same time though, if I want to make this happen, I know what to do. So again, do you have to put that much in there? It depends. It really depends. How do I find those people outside of work? You got to be able to like expand your horizon. Now, you know what you like, right? You know, like your wants, your desires, pretty much what makes you excited, your hobbies. And if you don't, that's your first step. Once you find that, go out, try things, be able to like, hey, like I want to do this or I want to do that. Then you'll start meeting people. Then you'll start meeting people that are also very interested in what you are like also interested in. And then from there, I think it's pretty much just like a downhill. It's all downhill from there. Nice and easy.
For the humiliation
or uphill,
of explaining why
uphill,
they had to
downhill,
take what was
whichever.
available. Even though it isn't humiliating at all, and they're doing what they can to survive, it definitely takes a huge effect on their mental health. Especially as it wasn't that long
And that is true though. You got to do what you have to do to survive. I've been there. I've been homeless. I get it.
You and push you to learn more. Starting at the bottom didn't seem so bad because there was an opportunity to grow and reap more rewards. But this imperative step is slowly slipping away. Companies of prestige have forgotten the generation with no experience. And for many companies, this is what they want. This is actually the ideal scenario, where they have people so desperate, so in need of experience, that they can treat their workers like absolute trash. Since the 1980s, testosterone...
And that's what we were saying earlier, is that, and again, I've seen it firsthand, they want to have it where people are going to be like, hey, they're just going to do anything for a little bit of money. And if you want to progress, nice try. Because hell, even in my like situation with the whole like company that I was talking about earlier, when it comes to progression, because I wanted to go higher. I wanted to be a manager of like the because I did all of the financial stuff. I dealt with vendors. I dealt with pretty much anything that involved the money. And but I wanted to do more. But here's the thing: as much as I worked my ass off, I knew it wasn't going to happen. Like I wanted. Let me just say, okay, well, I didn't know it was going to happen until eventually I got once I got let go. Let's say that's when it hit me. Was that there was literally never ever a chance that was going to happen. I wasn't part of their family. I wasn't part of the Alabama, which by the way, that's where they were like mainly stationed from, was Alabama. I wasn't someone's like daughter. I wasn't somebody's like, pretty much someone that was like part of their family. I wasn't part of the rich. I was part of somebody that was just trying to make like a living. Somebody that wanted to keep going higher. So with that being said, like that just wasn't going to happen. It wasn't going to happen. I wanted to be positive. I wanted to be somebody that wanted to like keep moving forward, but it just wasn't going to happen. I knew that. Like it deep down, I knew that, but it just, I don't know. It never happened. And it kind of like hits you. It stings a little bit. Also, Laris, what are you talking about?
More than 50%, and
why are you looking at me like that, Evan?
Why? Because there's a coordinated effort to suppress masculinity and turn men into something they were never meant to be. This decline is no accident. We're constantly exposed to harmful chemicals in our food and everyday products, bombarded with estrogenic chemicals from plastics, junk food, and sedentary lifestyles, which is why testosterone levels have been declining for decades, with a 17% drop among 60-year-olds in 2004 compared to 1987. Sperm count and strength in men are also decreasing exponentially, with a 32.5% decrease in mean sperm concentration in the last 50 years. But here's the good news: there are ways to fight back, and one of the most effective solutions that I found is our sponsor Black Forest's.
Oh, they got me. Hey, listen, sponsors are fine. But he does bring up a great fucking point, is that we have seen an increase in obesity. We've seen an increase of people just like being out of shape, not wanting to do things, because again, when you're out of shape, a lot of the times you ain't got no energy, you ain't got no time, you don't feel good, you don't look good. A lot of people just feel like they look like a fucking tub of lard. And when that happens, and again, I'm not trying to fucking shit on nobody here, but at the same time though, healthiness, being healthy, being like able to be like, hey, like I look good, I feel strong, I feel energetic, stuff like that's a big fucking deal. It helps with pushing you into a good spot to be successful. And again, you don't have to be like this fucking macho man, but it does fucking make you feel better. It does make you look better. It does. Have you ever seen this? Okay. Oh, actually, hold on. Thunder, thank you so much for the $13.37. I really appreciate that. Thank you so very much. You guys are fucking awesome. I hope you know that. Something that I noticed when I was hiring, and now I remember I was hiring this person to be not a manager, but somebody that was dealing with the first shifts and the second shifts, pretty much the a lead. That's what it was. It was a lead. I remember there were two people that were literally pretty much like the same. Actually, I think one of the people, the one that I didn't hire, had a little bit higher of qualifications. Now, I always try to be like, I more or less care about your qualities, what you can do, and just in general, your experience. That's what I care about the most. But I remember my boss told me like, hey, pick this person. And I was like, why? They're like, because they're good looking. They know what they're doing, but also they're good looking. A lot of companies, like, especially if you're trying to go into a specific like position and everything, they will pick the person that looks better. Because again, it's better for their company. It makes it so that they are pretty. Like, yes, they know what they want. Yes, they know what they specifically need, but they will pick somebody that is more attractive than somebody that is not. So if anyone doesn't know that, that's something that is kind of a thing. So if you're going up against somebody for the same like career, even if you're slightly ahead of them, just how it is. It's like people want to have a pretty face. Like, have you ever seen the commercials where it's like, well, actually any commercial that's talking about like a business, usually a very handsome man or a very beautiful girl. Do you see somebody that's very like, whether their skills are there or not, but have you ever seen somebody that looks like fucking Frankenstein there? A lot of the times, no. It's just kind of just how it is. That is how our world works.
Testosterone with Tonkat Ali. This
sex sells. Well, I mean, I guess you're right, but like, I kind of mean it more in the sense of just like somebody who's pretty, somebody that takes care of themselves.
With the most powerful natural testosterone.
I will say that thing. Work out.
Testosterone is a natural
work out. Keep yourself healthy.
Increase muscle growth.
Plus, it helps like with your actual health, mental, like and like your physical.
Tonkat Ali, used for centuries, helps raise testosterone, reduce stress, and improve overall vitality.
I have no idea what this
Black
is.
Forests, testosterone, and Tonkat Ali, and I've noticed a huge
this
improvement in my energy, strength,
testosterone.
It's like getting back the.
How does that work for you guys, by the way? If you take like a ton of like testosterone, like does it make it so you get more energy, or what is that? I've heard that some people lack it, and I'm just like, I'm not exactly sure. Actually, like, I wasn't too sure.
The edge that modern life is just draining away. Right now, Black Forest is offering a buy two, get one free deal on this limited edition product.
So, you get bald early. Wait, you get bald early? Wait, hold on. If you don't have enough?
It's had a huge difference in my energy levels, strength, sleep, and overall well-being.
If you don't have enough?
By supporting our sponsors, you also support us directly. So hurry and take advantage of this amazing 48-hour promo and support me alongside this amazing brand using the link in the description
if you have
below.
too much.
The cost of having a job also
if you
plays
have
a
too
part in
much.
stripping them of their dignity. Transport costs to their job, depending on the amount, could take a huge chunk of their salary. So
remember that job I was telling you about? So when it comes to, I specifically remember because I lived in the city. I lived in the city, and one thing that really, really, really used to piss me off was that my job to and from work was so fucking much each day. Like, I'm trying to think to myself, how much fucking money did I spend just to fucking get to work and then back? Because again, being stuck in traffic, having to drive over to work, I think it was like an hour. It was an hour every single day. It was crazy. It was crazy. It was too much for me. But like, I think about that now. Now I work from home now. Now I work from home, and there's a lot of stuff now where I'm like, hey, like, this is much, much, much better. I save a ton more fucking money now. But like, yeah, I remember like, and that was so fucking much. But here's the thing. Sometimes just to get like specific jobs, certain jobs, or any job really, a lot of times you gotta take what you can get. And like, I remember I feel like a lot of people have to spend like half their paycheck just to get to fucking work. So it's so fucking shitty. That's why I feel like one out of many reasons why people want to work from home. Also, Fluffy, thank you so much for the 5 months, by the way. Regarding T levels, I can firsthand that I was too, as I too owned testosterone test in February. It was so low, almost qualified for testosterone replacement therapy. That stuff is interesting. I know nothing really about it. We need to have like a combo about that one of these days, because I honestly have no idea. Listen, I like to learn, even though it doesn't really affect me, but I like to learn.
So that at the end of the day, they can only pay for
that is crazy
food
though.
And not both. A government grant could replace their
so
salaries,
you had to take one, right?
More or less the same amount.
What's also helping to pay the bills is, as I said, the U.S. government, in particular.
Is that the same guy? I feel like that's the same guy with his face. Listen, I'm not trying to be a dick. I'm just like, I feel like he might have had a stroke or something. Because if that's the case, listen, my tata, the reason why I say that is because before my tata like passed, he had a stroke and his face kind of like slumped. Like, So I feel like maybe that's what happened. Not too sure. It might just be his age. It might just be his age. I have no idea. I have no idea.
Disability programs for people who are unable to work. Those programs seem to have morphed away from their original humane intention and now seem to provide an alternative income source to regular employment for several millions, for millions and millions of these guys.
I like this. Well, I don't like the system, but here's the thing. So the amount of people that are on welfare, a lot of people that are on, pretty much getting the government, assistance, there is a fucking ton. Some people, yes, they need it. Other people, no. I was on, there for a while. I remember. It was only for, a little bit. But the point is that there are so many fucking people that pretty much take from the government. And a lot of the times, they'll pretty much do that on, purpose. They will get, people will get overweight. People will make it so they can't walk. They can't do a lot of things. And with that being said, it makes it so that they can pretty much get a little bit of money from the government. And then they live off that. And then they live off that forever. To me, that's crazy because that's not why that system was there in the first place. It was supposed to be so that people can not be in a point where they're completely living on the street. They're making nothing. It's supposed to help people get back on their feet. But they're not supposed to be there forever. And the fact that we are, the fact that a lot of people are, it blows my mind. I fucking hate that shit. I really do. Especially since I know a lot of families will literally, it's almost passed down from generation to generation. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but for me personally, I think that's a load of fucking bullshit. People literally set themselves up so that they can have that. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some families that are actually disabled and they can't actually work and do stuff like that. But there are some people. There are a lot of people that actually have that whole situation pretty much locked down. And if anyone's no, that's not the case. Listen, I used to be ghetto, baby. Listen, I know. I used to live in the ghetto. I used to see tons of fucking people doing that. I have friends that were like that. I had my Thea. I had uncles. I had people that didn't want to fucking do shit. And they knew that they can make money off the government. And it's just kind of how it is. And they knew exactly what to fucking do. And they would just stay there. It's pretty fucking irritating. We spend a lot of money on that. And a lot of that can be going to other places, But yeah, like I said, it's not everybody. So, there are some people that actually specifically need that. But that's what that system was for. It's supposed to help people out that are pretty much struggling. Not to mention, it is supposed to be helping people that are actually, actually in a spot where hey, I need some assistance. Again, I was on it before. I get it. It's a safety net. It's supposed to make it so people can get back up. And that's the thing. There are systems in this world where we are they try to make it so you're not fucking completely in the fucking shit. So you're not in the gutter. So you're not how people are around me. On the south side, for me, we call this homeless park. It's literally a fucking baseball field full of homeless people. Now, homeless people the homeless more or less the population has increased drastically. And I get it. Again, in this economy, it's fucking crazy. But with that being said, I think to myself, hey, I do feel there are systems to be able to help us. But people take advantage of that shit because they know that they can. And it's really sad to see, honestly. It's really sad to see. Also, Lazy Brit, thank you so much for the 15 months, by the way. Thank you.
If a job doesn't
sorry if
support
I'm
your basic needs of a
pausing
home,
a lot.
transport,
This actually hits me a lot.
For this job,
I like this
video.
I like this video.
And in most cases, if you go into the
Very
gig
good
economy,
video.
absolutely no security either. All for minimum wage. There's even a new term called quietly quitting, where you do the bare minimum of your job to the point that you're almost rendered useless and you get fired or simply quit. The fact that this term even exists shows that attention is desperately needed to solve this problem. And while this is happening, it's becoming more and more common for both partners in a household to be living the same life, or even with most males' partners actually being the breadwinner. And whilst this isn't necessarily a problem at all, it is leading to some weird modern problems in the household. Men with families are actually switching their roles with their wives, except they're not actually doing what their wives would do if they were to stay at home.
When you look at what...
I know for me, me and my ex-wife, we fucking both worked. One thing that I did was, I know for me, I remember I worked a lot more because I remember she was trying to go for her master's degree. And I'm a firm believer of hey, being able to help your partner to be able to see their dreams and their goals. And let's just say let's just say like you have to more or less, okay, hold on, let me redo that one. Have you ever heard of like, hey, no relationship is like 50-50? Because that is 100% true. Sometimes some people will like, hey, I'm trying to go off to school, I'm trying to do this and this. Like sometimes you need to be the 80 and they're going to be the fucking 20. And sometimes it's going to be the opposite way. It really just depends. I feel like a good relationship, a good marriage, if you ever get to that spot, trust me, I ain't trying to get married no more. But the point I'm trying to make is that sometimes you need to like teeter-totter with that to be able to make it so you guys can work it together and be able to like, sometimes you're going to be the breadwinner and sometimes it's going to be the other way around. So it's crazy to me. It's crazy. Some people don't really see that, but I really do think that like that is important. You may sacrifice yourself to help your love, but it sometimes backfires. Oh yeah, trust me. I gave a lot of my time and effort to be able to give my ex-wife, like, you know, help her to go finish up her master's degree. And now we are divorced. So it really, you know, sometimes it works, sometimes it does not. But if you're in that situation, I think to myself, like, hey, like, you're going to want to make sure that your partner is in a good, like, spot. And I would hope that my partner would do the same for me. Like I said, sorry, I'm going to pause the video a lot.
I guess in Britain it's called NEET, N-E-E-T. Do you say that also in Australia? Neither employed nor in,
I've never been to Australia. I always wanted to.
When you look at that huge group of well over 6 million prime age men, the story they're telling about their lives is really pretty devastating.
Sorry, that's really nice of you.
They basically don't do civil society. There's almost no worship, almost no...
I've never liked AirPods. I feel like they look like tampons. Sorry.
Almost no charitable work. They've got a lot of time on their hands, but they report doing strangely little help around the home.
They do. They do. I have, when I do work out, it's like Beats. It's like the Beats by Dre. I like it. I like them. I just think they're better. I at least I feel like they look better. I don't know. Maybe that's like a personal thing. He said, I gave 100% to my wife for like 10 years. And then she left me for a drunk. It happens like that. Like sometimes. Listen, my ex-wife, long story. Long story. Some people are fucking pieces of fucking dog shit. You know, and you think to yourself like, hey, like I've taken the time to be able to understand, see, like, hey, I don't want to be in a bad position. So that like I get like used and abused, and I don't mean it like that. But sometimes you just get fucking... You don't see it, like sometimes, including like myself. I'm usually very, very, very careful with everything, but sometimes it happens. Sometimes it happens, but you just got to keep like moving forward. If not, you're going to be in like this really depressed and lonely state for the rest of your life. And you don't deserve that. You deserve love. You deserve respect. You deserve a lot. So make sure that you're getting yourself in like a really good spot where you're like, hey, even though this fucking happened, don't let it own you. Don't let a bad situation own you. I think there was something that Mike Tyson said a long time ago. I love fucking Mike Tyson. Sorry, I have to do the list each time. He said, hey, there was, I'm trying to remember exactly what he was talking about, but he was like, hey, don't let a bad situation own you. Don't let it be your fucking bitch. Don't let it fucking own you. Like literally kind of like how like, you know how you ever heard the term with like prison, you're like a prison bitch. Don't let that bad situation like fucking own you. Make it your bitch. Because if that's the case, you're a bitch. You're letting it fucking own your ass. That's how I felt about like the military. Whenever the bad situation, my friend, like, do I think about it? Yes. Do I feel sad sometimes knowing that my friend's not here anymore because of it? Yes. But I had to come to terms with it. Because if not, it owns you. It owns you. And then you're not free anymore. That shit owns you. So it's like, you gotta be free. You gotta be free. You gotta be free.
Some men
if you want to live, you gotta be free, and that's one way to do things. You gotta own it.
Kids, but the
Don't
rest
let
of the day,
it own
they sleep
you.
or play games. In some cases, the wives work and then come home to finish the chores their husbands were meant to do but didn't. And whilst this might cause
You
huge
lazy
marriage problems,
fucks.
it still
Don't do that. Don't be a piece of shit, please and thank you.
feels better off to the husbands. If asked what they do for a living, saying they're on a break or working
I
on
was
a project beats the
off topic. I was told that that's why some people like the hag maxing stuff. Because it's usually like an older person pretty much getting the work done while somebody pretty much gets made chicken nuggets. It's made chicken nuggets and they get to just vibe and hang out at home. And I'm just saying. Don't do that.
McDonald's with a useless degree on their back.
What is hag maxing?
Nothing to lose. So
long story. No
woman would even want them.
We have a video on that, so if you want to watch that, it's on our YouTube channel.
Families are supportive, it somehow justifies them giving up and staying at home, rather than facing these societal problems head on. With prices rising, getting hired becoming harder and harder by the day, and inequality becoming rampant within society, most men are just deciding to give up, because instead of facing the hardships of having a job, it just seems so much easier to escape, whether it be terminally being online, playing video games all day, or hiding behind doing chores at home to show they still have a purpose and are doing their best.
But here's the thing. When it comes to situations like this, especially since they use the example of like his wife is working and he's doing nothing. Like, again, life fucking sucks. And there's a lot of times where you're like, I just want to escape. Sometimes I'm like that. But like in that situation, like, again, you can't have it where your partner's doing 100% of it. Like literally just like the breadwinner, handling things, cleaning the dishes while you should have done that. Like there's stuff like that where it's like, hey, you need to get out of your funk. You need to be able to try to find you need to try to find the best way to handle what's going on with you. Whether it's talking with somebody, therapy, like anything. Talking to your friend. Listen, there's like, I know it sounds weird, but like, this is a little hack with this. Like, again, therapy can be expensive, but like, have you ever heard of like the suicide hotline? So that's free, by the way. And not saying that you need to say like, hey, this is going to happen, but like a lot of the times they'll help you like chat. They'll try to set you up. Not sure if you guys know that. It's useless. Okay, well, here's the thing. It's not perfect, but again, if you have nothing, you can't afford anything, I'm just saying straight, it's better than nothing. And I've met a lot of people that have actually like done a lot of that. And yes, not all the time, it's not perfect, but sometimes they would try to call 911. It really just depends. It's not always like that. You may have had a bad experience. I met many people, including a lot of my personal friends, that didn't know what they were trying to do, and then that's pretty much someone that helped them push along. As long as you're not going to an extreme. You might have had like a bad like experience. It's not always perfect. Same thing with like therapy. Some people think therapy is useless. I disagree 1000%. Like, again, if I didn't have therapy, and I probably wouldn't be here. I probably wouldn't have been able to handle my situation, my issues, my problems from when I had my PTSD from the military. So I probably wouldn't be here. So it really just depends.
The point being that for many men in 2024, if they're going to be disrespected,
listen, don't use BetterHelp though.
And feel worthless,
now that is a scam.
You may as well choose the easy way out than a battle. If respect had a currency on how it would affect your life directly, you would see a different picture. A man with a job with high pressure, long hours, and doing something that makes him feel degraded would be worth say $100, but staying at home, playing games, and escaping, all while being with the people he loves, is probably worth $200 because of how it affects him. This explains why more and more men are deciding to drop out of society rather than face it head on, as it just seems to be the easier path. If it's a choice between two paths,
I know for a fact that this is definitely something that I think it's like a Japan issue also. I think it's called NEETs. Oh, Strider. We got a video on that also, but just know this. Layman's terms, more or less, just to like wrap it all up. There's a lot of people there that it's not always like this, but there's a lot of people out there that are using that site where they're not really therapists. They're not really people that have actually gotten a degree, people that have actually let's just say they have not done the stuff, the schooling that actually helps them, if that makes sense, that actually makes them like a therapist. So just saying. Yeah, I thought they were NEETs. I wasn't exactly sure if it was NEETs or not, but that was my thought. Again, I don't really know a lot of things about Japan, but it makes me feel like America's starting to push more into that also. And I don't like that. It just makes people, I don't like people that give up immediately. Like, life fucking sucks. Trust me, I know. Listen, I've lost my jobs. I've lost my family. I've lost a lot of things inside life. A lot of people be like, hey, just give up. But you can't. You just can't. You just fucking can't. Because if you do, you're just like everybody else. And you're better than that. Anyone can do what, you can do it. It just, sometimes it's harder than others. Sometimes it's hard. Well, actually, a lot of times it's going to be hard. Nothing in life is going to be easy. It's just how it is. And you got to fucking keep pushing on. You got to keep moving on. If not, you're just like everybody else. This is what they want from you. Be independent, literally make it so that you do what you want. Make sure you do what makes you happy. If not, then again, you're just like everybody else. Don't be like that. Don't be like that. You are fucking better.
That's one that offers little satisfaction while the other provides comfort. It's easy to see why men are going this route. But the thing is, this is a terrible mistake. And this is creating problems that we've never seen before. If there is no emphasis or any facilitation of the need to aspire to something greater and the game seems rigged to most who are playing it, it's hardly a surprise record numbers of men are dropping out and giving up on the game entirely. The problem is that there's a huge group of men, roughly about 7 million in America between the ages of 25 and 55, who are not working and are actively not looking for work. Now, COVID certainly had a hand in accelerating these figures.
This is true.
One question posed to these dropouts was how many of these men were on pain medication, and almost half of these men admitted to taking pain medication daily. And aside from those who desperately need it,
when it comes to a lot of the jobs during like the COVID time, this is the time when people really were like, hey, I want to work from home. This actually, the whole process when it comes to COVID, this made it so people like realize like, they're like, hey, I don't want to go into somewhere, hey, including myself. Now I work from home. It took me a few years. It took me a few years to be able to make that happen. But then again, I work for my family's like business. Again, remember the whole company I told you, like before when I worked for vendors, I pretty much like buy equipment, just, budgets, etc., etc. I pretty much do the same thing now. So I will, that's something that I got very lucky because I know what I'm doing with that and I like my numbers. Don't know English very well, as you can clearly tell. But I will say that I, that's always been my like specialty. That's my engineering at its finest. It's the only thing I did learn from the military.
Figures could indicate that men are aimlessly numbing themselves to their new reality. And this is great for society as people don't have to deal with this huge
Don't worry about us. I'm gonna get it later.
40% of
usually when I do like redeem or like reacting content, I do it later.
Are in this group?
I thought we turned that one off actually.
Demographically, education, family structure, ethnicity. Who makes up this group?
Surprisingly large.
What's 1 plus 1? 11.
We say representation of guys with college or
Don't
even
mind
college
me.
degrees.
Don't mind me. Don't mind me.
Has at least some college, and as I recall, about
were you a native English speaker? No, like Spanish.
Grads.
The decision to be in this state is closely related to changing times. We've already discussed the effects of brain rot.
At least I like to say that.
Which disable problem solving in Generation Z and has already presented problems in finding jobs. They are quick to quit at the first difficult task and move on to find something else. But what happens when options run dry and they find themselves simply stuck in limbo? Giving up seems to be the next step, and accepting that is easy when they're discouraged by the situation. Working off of surveys, the data compiled indicates that these men are not only not working, but they're cutting themselves off from their communities, or there's no incentivization for them to even have any community in the first place.
Well, that's the thing, is that as much as, because again, I'm a loner, I'm kind of like, I'm one of those people that kind of just like likes to do my own thing. Now, don't get me wrong, I have a small little group of friends, but like I kind of like it that way. But when problems show themselves, you gotta step up, even if it's like, gotta step up. You really do. I feel like we live in a time now where remember how I was telling you about like the bar right now is about right here. It's because a lot of people do not want to take on problems. They don't want to take on problems. Now, it's not like I want to. It's not like I want to. But that's life. That is life. Growing, adapting, learning. And here's the thing. If I'm in front of one problem, I may learn something that either A, this is going to help me in life. It's going to help me later. Or B, let's just say it's something that I'm going for, that like I thought I wanted as a job or a career or a hobby. This is when I learn like, hey, maybe this isn't like for me, but at least I'm learning something. So it's important. It's important to fail. It's important to be able to stand in front of these problems and be like, hey, like, I really, really, really want to be able to like grow in life. And this is how you do it. Whether like you're working like a basic 9 to 5, like, cause I used to work at like Target, and a little while back, like way long fucking time ago. And I learned to myself even during that time, like, hey, I don't want to work for a retail store in my whole life. So that's, it's stuff like that where I'm like, okay, like you got to learn what you like, what you don't like, what's fine, the small things, the little things. Humble yourself. All right.
They're hiding out because
Savvy, if you
going
haven't
out with
noticed,
new
mental
meeting new
health and
people who
self-care
might oppose
issues
their
that I'm
lifestyles.
passionate
It
about.
makes it
I'm going to school for
Why
that.
leave
So,
when you
like,
can
trust
just
me, I'm right there with
endlessly watch
you.
brain rot content and numb yourself with weed
I
or
love being
pain
able to pick
medication
people's
and
brains,
stay inside
understand
in
people.
the warm comfort of home. And any sexual needs you have can be satisfied with pixels on a screen. This life.
Hell yeah, brother. I'm right there with you. Listen, who needs people? No, even a little bit of social is good. It's good for you, even though that's something I got to work on. Now, granted, I do get a chance to talk with you guys, but like, there's like a difference. Being able to go outside, see people, kind of a big deal. Even if it's only for like a little bit.
Lifestyle is increasingly becoming
Trust me,
more
people
and more
like
normal
irritate
for
me,
men in
but
the
like I do
West.
have to
But what's
go out
important
and
to note is
socialize
that
from time to
men
time.
don't want to be this way. It's a horrible lifestyle. It's depressing. It's
It is. It
atomizing.
really
What
is.
this really is just a coping mechanism or a form of self-defense against a society that's becoming increasingly hostile to these men. Up until recently, the problem has been invisible. These figures.
Wait, hold on. It's perfectly fine to work a stupid, boring 9 to 5. And you know what? Here's the thing. Lunchtime, I agree with you. Now, the only thing that I would tell somebody, because again, we got to do what we got to do. Got to make your money, got to do what you can to be able to survive. Now, my big thing is this. Like, I know a lot of people, okay, we're talking about like the Target thing earlier. So I had this worker that was there where they worked the 9 to 5 and they were fine with that. They didn't want to do anything else because it was nice. It was very calm, collective. Like they got their money. They didn't have to worry about much. That's what they wanted to do. The only time the whole boring 9 to 5 thing that I have a problem with is that if you're complaining, you're like, oh, I want to do this and this. That's when I'm like, okay, so you clearly want to do something else, but you're not going to put the effort into it. So you're not living, you're just barely getting by. So that's kind of how I feel about it. Like if you like your 9 to 5, your boring 9, like, you know, you like that 9 to 5, this is your thing. Awesome. But if you don't, then that's where I feel like you need to push yourself into another area. But again, if you love what you do there, like again, like it's kind of one of those things, like my pop used to say like, hey, if you're happy to be like a garbage man, awesome. That's great. Which by the way, it's super funny because like you look at garbage men, they actually make a good amount of money. So that whole take is not correct, but like I understand what they were trying to say. I get it. 0 effort equals guaranteed 0 results. True and real and based.
Weren't shown in any statistics or surveys because they slipped through the cracks until very recently. So why did they slip through the cracks? Well, it's easy to see. They simply don't fit the victim criteria. Some have degrees, they're in the prime of their lives, and it was their choice to quit. It's easily overlooked and only comes to light as the numbers rise. Nicholas Upstart wrote a book called Men Without Work, and has since exposed and addressed the problems in his book. He says he is trained to look for hidden in plain sight problems, which is how he stumbled upon this issue. You see, these men are not causing trouble, at least for now, and they don't seem to be drawing any attention to themselves. On the contrary, they keep to themselves. So surveys and statistics just don't include them at all. They don't even register on the scale, and people in society think this is a joke issue. And it's also reasonable to conclude that some of these men may work, but in the underground economy, work like formal cash jobs, or even shady legal ways of making money. But
my uncle used to do a lot of that. He would like, it doesn't show on record, but he used to be like a roofer. And a lot of roofers, like they get their money like, you know, under like the table. But regardless, as long as you're making your money, I could fucking care less. I can care less. As long as you're doing what you want to do.
of course, this is just a minor portion of these men. We need to address the problem head on. How is the situation getting this bad? These men have completely lost their purpose in life. All of their duty, their hopes, their responsibilities, their own dignity and value. It's being completely decimated at the moment. And we're seeing this with the form of radicalization online, growing hatred and division, and a general apathy towards society as a whole. And the longer this is ignored, the harder it's going to be addressed down the line. More men today than ever feel disconnected, disillusioned, and left behind by a world that seems increasingly indifferent to their struggles.
It wasn't until I started streaming that I learned what an incel is. It's, I'm assuming that somebody doesn't want to do a lot of stuff, that kind of just wants to stay home. Again, I could be wrong. I have no idea. Somebody told me if I ever go on 4chan, I'll see it. I've never been there. Never been to Reddit or any of that. Like, I just never really did the whole social media thing. It's very, I don't know. Just never really did a lot of that stuff. Hell, I barely even did like Twitter. Like until I started. I do not recommend it. Okay, well, noted. Noted. I like to learn. Like there's a lot of stuff where I'm like, hey, I like to see how things work and everything else. Like yada yada. But point I'm trying to make is like that is very sad. It really is very sad. Again, the world doesn't help. Makes it feel like there's not a lot of reason to live, to do things, to try to strive to do more. Whether it's companies fucking being pieces of fucking dog shit that don't want to keep you with loyalty. There's a lot of times where like pretty much people bring you down, the people around you, etc., etc. That really does make you feel like very negative, very sad. But again, like if you really want to be living and not just surviving, this is something that you really got to be able to overcome. Have you ever heard of like, light at the end of the fucking tunnel? There's this really cool saying, and it's something that I just recently learned, and I really like this. The example is, what if you are the light in the end of the fucking tunnel? What if you are that light? What if the darkness was around, like all the people around you? It only takes one person to kind of push yourself into a better position. Like, I know, I sound like a fucking positive Nancy, but like, I am a realist. I understand sometimes it's really fucking hard. It's really fucking, actually, not sometimes, always. Like, I am a realist, but at the same time though, like, you could be that light. You could be that person to go into the next spot, into where it's not always fucking shitty. It's not always fucking shitty. But then again, that just might just be me. Like I said, I learned a lot from being a little ghetto baby. From having no money, from pretty much that fucking straight up struggle, because that helped me realize that, hey, I don't want to be here no more. I don't want to be like how my old friends are, where they used to say, and I used to hate this fucking saying, where they're like, well, this is all I know. This is all I know, so I'm going to be a little ghetto bitch. Like, I hate that shit. It's like, last I checked, humans are probably the most complex fucking creatures out there. So you're telling me you're like a light switch that only goes one fucking way? Yeah, no, I don't know, just something I really don't like. But again, that's how people live. That's how people live. They don't want to grow. And it's, I don't know, it's not my cup of tea. But again, if that's what you want to do, this is what you want to do,
especially
go for
to
it.
Government bureaucracies, it will never really fix the reality of the situation for normal people. The real challenge we face today in the West is to find purpose and meaning again, to have any reason to even want to participate and achieve greatness in society. We should focus on creating environments where people can thrive, where beauty, philosophy, and higher noble pursuits are actively encouraged by the cities and countries that we inhabit, which would give millions of men a reason to care again.
I like this video. I do think to myself that like, when it comes to stuff like this, which by the way, really cool fucking like video, like conversations like this are really neat. It's something where you guys can really think outside the box. I really do think to myself, like, even though we live in a society where it feels like they're not really trying to set you up for success, I also think to myself, a lot of people don't even give themselves a shot. They don't even give themselves a chance. They don't even give themselves a fucking chance to even like try. And that's one of the big things I do think to myself where people don't do, and I feel like I wish that they would, is try. Try, even if it's just a little bit more than what you do each day. You know, it's literally just a step. It's like stairs. It's not like you're gonna make it to the very top at the very first day, on the very first day. I used to like to tell my troops this back when they were really struggling. If you're ever trying to climb a mountain, you're looking at that mountain, because I used to actually live down in Colorado back in the day. So you look at Pikes Peak. Holy fuck, that is a ginormous fucking mountain. If you look from the very bottom to the very top, you may get scared. You may get a little frightened. You're like, maybe I shouldn't do this. But you got to look at the small goals. It's the little things. Also, Toki, I like you. I completely agree with you. You got to look at the small little achievements. You go from one, you're like, that's awesome. You did a good job. Celebrate that. And then the next thing, boom, celebrate that, enjoy that. And then boom, a little bit here and a little bit here. Learn, adapt, understand what's going on. And by the end of the day, eventually you will get there. It may take a second, but if you make it, if you take your time with that, learn, adapt, and never give up. It's all about that consistency. I think you'll be fine. I think everyone will be solid. It just takes time. No one's going to get it at on the first day. It may take months, may take a fucking year. Who knows? Depends on what you want. But as long as you're kind of pushing up there, you will get there. There was this saying, this will be my last thing. There was this saying, I'm trying to remember exactly, what was it? It was on BoJack Horseman. It was a really good show. By the way, you should totally fucking check it out. Check it out. I remember he's trying to start working out again because he was pretty much like, he's pretty much washed out like actor. And I remember he was like working out, he was trying to run, and then eventually he lays down. And I'm trying to remember, the monkey comes up to him, which again, it's like horses and animals, stuff like that, but it's supposed to be real life. He comes up to him and pretty much he says, hey, well, actually, hold on, I'm trying to remember exactly what they said, but more or less they said, hey, like, it's going to be hard, but it does get easier. You just got to be consistent. You got to be fucking consistent, because that is how you grow. You know, take it one day at a fucking time, but you got to keep doing it. You got to keep fucking doing it. I like that. That was a really cool fucking saying. It's like, hey, it may not be great right now, but it does get easier. You just got to be fucking consistent. But anyway, yapping aside, this is a really cool video. Please go and check them out. This is Moon. I think I've seen some of their videos before, I think. Here, actually, if anything, let me go ahead and put their on. They do a lot of like, I think like more IRL things, I want to say. Here, hold on one second. Please go and check them out. That was a really cool like fucking video. But yeah, I like conversations like this. They're more deep. I think it makes you think. It makes you think. Like, again, we live in a fucking shitty society. Sometimes we live in a shitty fucking society, but don't make it shittier. Be that person that kind of like pushes up with that. Don't be just another don't be another statistic. I know it's really hard, but you can do that. You really can. You really can. So, very good video.